Yes.
Right then. I think they should be coming in about now. I'm just going to get the link to tweet out and whatever. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the stream. My God, why is this such a pain?
I think your fans that have come in already can see I've got a big smile on my face.
That's brilliant. Hello, everybody. Usual stuff today, but we've got a guest on the post-match stream for the first time. Aaron from what happened to my voice there? I just got a massive Aaron, Forever Football, Doncaster Rovers FC, known as on YouTube. Hello, Lucas. Hello, Harry. How are you all doing? We're just going to run through the game. Got my prediction right, 3-3. Love big man Aaron. Here we are. So then we're just gonna chat about the game. We've had a little chat for 15 minutes or so before, discussing the absolute mental disaster, mental roller coaster that was that game.
Oh, mate, I needed the ambulance over because I needed to be resuscitated after that match. Oh, mate, that was more electrifying than The Rock. That was electrifying, mate. That was brilliant, and it was written. We said it before, written in the stars. Cops, Mr. Doncaster, the GOAT, the legend, on his 799th appearance, and he scores a free kick like that. And I got emotional. I said it on my review. I got emotional after seeing that goal go in because we're not going to see many more moments like that. And Coppinger was emotional in his interview afterwards. So, fair play to him. And, I said it in the review. I'll say it again. I send my best wishes to Honeyman. I really hope it's not as serious as it looked. I hope it's, less serious than it did look on the pitch, because it did take the whole 7 minutes at a time to get him off the pitch. And before, a couple of minutes before. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he's not too seriously injured. If it is, and this is the end of his season, I think he's had a great season. And I think that hopefully he'll come back a better player next season, whether it's in the Championship or League One.
Yeah, so let's have a little look through the chat. Lucas says, I was so mad last night. Jesus, why didn't you bring anyone on? We were chatting before about this. The rule is you're allowed your 5 substitutes. However, you can only make them at 3 separate intervals. So we brought McGuinness off for Gavin White. That's 1. Slater on for Doherty. Make that 2. And then Wilkes off on came Emmanuel. That's 3. So he couldn't do that. And then if you're asking about the concussion sub, it was his neck. So we weren't allowed to. And
should they change the rules though, like they do with VAR and the offsides?
Yeah.
Do you think it should be like head and neck should be considered concussion substitutions, and maybe even spinal injuries leading to concussion injuries?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We're playing Ipswich on Tuesday. We'll probably win. Ipswich have the 16th best away record in the league, so they're down in the bottom half.
Ipswich will be easy for you guys. In my opinion, Ipswich just haven't been good this season. I mean, I saw online that whether they won, lost, or drew against Oxford yesterday, Lambert was going to get the sack. They drew. He's not got the sack, which says a lot about the chairman, Marcus Edwards. Edwards out, all that malarkey. We've seen all the stuff around the ground recently at Portman Road. I don't know if it's home or away for you guys, but
it's a home for us. And they've got the 16th worst away record in the league. So fingers.
Well, there we go. You saw the reports last week of the flares. I think it was outside the Ipswich ground. That is not a happy place right now. And I think that the sooner they bring in a new owner and a new manager, the better Ipswich have got of getting back to that Championship glory. So it's one of those things where I think Hull City will probably walk over Ipswich because they won't take the chances and they'll start sitting back and defending.
Should we have a look through how each player performed then?
Let's do it. I can't wait.
We'll start with City, and we'll look at Matt Ingram first. So in chat, get your thoughts in about Matt Ingram. I saw a claim that Ingram was at fault for the goals. I saw a claim we should be starting George Long. Yes, he had the little spill in the first half, but we got away with that. The first goal he could do nothing about. What a strike.
I said it against Portsmouth when Reece James scored a similar goal. That was sweeter than Cadbury's Dairy Milk. That was sweet. that was a sweet strike. Like, I don't know where these claims are that Ingram could do anything about the goals. Reece James' goal he could do nothing about. Bogle sent him the wrong way on the penalty.
You can't blame him for the penalty.
No. And the free kick you couldn't do anything about because Coppinger is such a legend.
And that's debatable.
Yeah.
But
and the free kick you couldn't do anything about. He couldn't do anything for the free kick either because Coppinger put it in the right place at the right time. So Ingram couldn't do anything about the goals. There were a couple of moments in the first half where he almost spilled it out of his hands when he caught it, which could have been a disastrous moment if that ended up being 4-3 in the end. But I think there's another moment as well where he had it, and I think the defender took it out of his hands, and he sort of played it out for a corner instead when it was going to go out anyway, and he was going to keep it in his hands. So that was a bit of a risky.
That's what the claim was. So he gave away the corner, which then led to McGuinness clearing a header off the line from, I think it was right, and then obviously it was cleared, throw in, bang, Reece James. There we go. HXO Alex says could have been better, but definitely could have been worse. Sam Hughes says shaky at times. He was with a catch and whatever, but nothing he could do about the goals. Lucas says not great at all. However, the first goal he couldn't do anything. I'm a goalie myself. I know how it feels. Tiger Boy says tough one to take. Well done to Greaves for scoring his first Hull City goal. Lucas then says again, I actually think my comment was a bit harsh, but it's never nice conceding a free kick, is it? When it's a free kick like that, when nobody's getting there, it was pure class. And I said this off camera as well. And Hull City fans need to know this. He's been at the club 17 years. This is his last ever season. We're playing in the gold kit created in tribute to him for what he's delivered to Doncaster Rovers over the years. And I've seen him play, apart from 2020, obviously, because of COVID, and probably 2021 as well. I've seen him play in stadiums ever since he's been at Rovers. I remember being a 4-year-old kid in 2004, seeing him for the first time. I remember 05, 06, 07, 08, that free kick against Southend to take us into the playoff final in 2008. That was majestic, and it gave me vibes of that free kick. So apart from the years of COVID, I've seen him play in every single year at least once. So I know about this guy. I've lived through this guy. He's my era. And to see it come to an end is upsetting. That's why I probably cried after he scored the goal, because and I'm not afraid to say that. I cried because it made me think, oh my God, this era's coming to an end. And yes, we might be going into a better era, but I'll never forget the foundations that could have built this better era in the future under Darren Moore and future players. And it's because of James Coppinger. So, the free kick was majestic. It rolled back the years. And I've got no shame in saying I cried after that, because it made me think of the years we're going to miss without him, and the years that was rolled back with that free kick, because he's such a legend. And I said it off camera, get that statue ready. AJ Greaves, our youngster, AJ Greaves that wasn't on the bench today, in that game, he said things like, who wants to help build the statue? James Copperadinho, that's what he tweeted, and we can have a laugh doing that because we know he is such a legend, and it's good to see him back. And it was written in the stars. Okay, bit of connection issues there, but we're sorted. OG Bot Plays Wins says, was it a penalty? See, it's a debatable one. We'll touch on this in a little bit, but it probably you deserved a penalty, definitely. How was the 16 minutes added on? So Honeyman went down in the 84th minute.
Accident.
It went. Then there was, because he was down for that 6 minutes, and then there was all the substitute times, goal celebration, things like that to add on. That was then 7 minutes of added time. Honeyman stayed down for the 7 minutes, so therefore we had to play the 7 minutes and another few on top. So that's why there was 16. And yeah, it was the Honeyman injury. It wasn't down for 16 minutes, it was down for 10, but then other time had to make up for that. So what we're saying then about Louis Coyle, ladies and gents?
Couple of mistakes. I saw a few ropey moments in there from him. I mean, he was wearing the captain's armband, so compared to our captain, I think that he didn't really lead the team as much as our captain did, in my opinion. So I think they're right back. I stick with my preview. I stick with my principle. Emmanuel should have started.
Emmanuel should have started. You're right. I think he's the better player. But Coyle, he's vice captain now that Smallwood's injured, so he's not gonna be dropped anytime soon. And Lewis Perry says it right. In my opinion, Emmanuel should start over him. What we're saying now then about Burke and Greaves. Jacob Greaves, obviously, he's my boy. He's my boy. Massive respect for him. Absolute legend. Nicest guy. And the goal has been coming for him all season long.
Mate, I send my congratulations for Jacob Greaves for that goal. Really, really good. Overall, had a good performance, in my opinion. I felt like overall he delivered in that role. I think he absolutely delivered. In terms of conceding the goal, again, it was what we did against Sunderland with the McGeady-White partnership. We haven't changed the way we defend set pieces, and whether you can alter it a little bit would be fine. We need to start defending set pieces better, because it felt like every set piece you got, or every corner you got, every free kick you got that was near the box, we were like, oh, this is going in. We've not got a good record of defending set pieces at the minute.
You looked on the ropes.
Seven headers conceded in a week. That's embarrassing. That's absolutely embarrassing. And to be fair, I say 7 headers conceded in a week. And to be fair, this game was the first game back with Tom Anderson. So it will start, that record will go away. That record will go away because Tom Anderson's back in the lineup and he could sit, and we'll go over him in a bit, but he did defend 2 off the line, which was brilliant. But back on Burke and Greaves. Greaves did good. Well done for the goal, mate. Really good. Burke, I think he put himself about a bit, I think that he had some good pace about him. He's a good pacey centre-back at times. He did come forward to defend some attacks that we had. So overall, again, I've got really no qualms about it.
Only qualm with Burke is the free kick which he gave away.
Yeah, that's the one I would say.
Grant McCann said that Bogle went down very easily. I completely disagree.
The snake is making excuses because he's hiding in the grass. He's hiding in the grass, snaking his way up into the press. Grant McCann, with the greatest respect, stop making excuses and just accept we're going up and you're not.
We've got Burke handball was interesting. Definitely was. He just batted it away, didn't he?
Mate, that was like Diego Maradona's hand of glory. That was how the referee did not give at least 1 or 2 of the 4 handball opportunities we had. The Greaves one wasn't. The 4th one was a little harsh, if it was. It was a more harsh than the 4. Second one, 50-50. Call 50-50.
Depends on what
Burke
we're looking at it. But the Burke
one in the box, nailed on, handball, and the referee's a bold moronic tool case.
The referee was a clown, wasn't he?
Where did the EFL get these referees? The Premier League?
They pick them from the field opposite me, mate.
But, mate, if he did that down the local Cantley Park in Donny, he'd have got beaten to death with corner flags, never mind social distancing. He'd have got beaten to death. And to be fair, like I said, where do they get these referees from? Do they get them from the Premier League reserve bench?
Oh my word! You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Looking now, then, Callum Elder. What are we saying? Out at left back for us.
I think he put a decent showing, I think that he put in a decent shift. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he was really good. I think he's a former Leicester player, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's been at Leicester a couple.
The reason he's with us because he played with it was under McCann at Peterborough.
Yeah,
just like how we got Alec Wilkes, Herbie Kane. We were looking at Ben Whiteman. We were looking at all these.
Yeah, then Preston's got him, and look what Preston are now, getting beat 3 or 4-0 by Cardiff yesterday. Yeah, he wanted Championship football. He's got it, and now pay the price. But I think overall, I think Elder put in a decent shift. You could see that Premier League quality on him in his former Leicester days. So I think that overall, he put in a decent shift.
Looking at Elder, we've got a comment here. Where's Max Clark from OG? Max Clark. The reason he's not playing yet is because he was at Vitesse, but hasn't played for Vitesse since September. So, therefore, he's not match fit. So, McCann brought him in. He's trying to get him match fit. He played for the under-23s. He's played 90 minutes for the under-23s the other night. So, he's making progress. And I think McCann had him and a couple of fitness coaches, a couple of other players as well, out running just on the pitch at the Keepmoat afterwards.
Yeah, I get that because, there's new signings that we haven't completely brought into the team straight away because we need to give them some minutes to run out, etc., and give them time to settle into match fitness. So, it was very important for them to do that.
Then we've got good delivery for the goal for Callum Elder, definitely. Very good cross. It was basically a corner. Brilliant corner. Really good. Elder was a 7 rating. Put in a shift. Can't lie, he was quite good. Better than Coyle, I have to say. 7.5 out of 10. He was definitely the better of the two fullbacks from yesterday. Lee Walker says the ref was shocking. Definitely. We'll get on to him very, very soon. But we'll look at Alfie Jones next then. We'll see what he was like. Without him or Smallwood in that defensive midfield role, we lose our shape. And when he came back in against Wigan, it made a difference. And in this game, very solid. If we needed him to, he could slot back in as a third centre back, and he was pushing forward quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I think he did the defensive and attacking duties in that holding midfield role. I think that he's one of the players that's hopefully going to keep you shaped together if you want to get promotion. I think that Alfie Jones put in, again, a decent shift. I think that without him, I don't know where Hull's midfield would be, as well as Richie Smallwood. I think that, again, they've got that.
Watch the MK Dons game to see what that was like.
Mate, that MK Dons game was hilarious, but I think Alfie Jones, as well as Richie Smallwood, brings that defensive shape, and I think that, I think he's one of the players to watch for promotion this season. I think that, like Lincoln with Jorge Grant, like us with Taylor Richards and a few other players, I think Alfie Jones is one of the Hull players that's going to be the reason why you guys might go up this season.
We've got then Lee Walker saying Jones was quality. Couldn't agree more with you, Lee, mate.
Yeah.
Lucas/Terry says Jones, can't lie again, good, very good, in fact, 8 out of 10. Another technical problem. This is going very well. But Lucas Manfab is...
I think we're all right.
There we go. We're sorted now. Lucas Manfab says, for people who don't know, I'm Richie Smallwood's nephew. Big up yourself, Lucas. Bringing Klopp when he gets sacked.
Mate, Liverpool didn't look good yesterday, I'll tell you that now. I was saying with Terry on the football terrace, Liverpool looked shaky.
So then, you know who's coming next? We've looked at the holding midfielder. Now let's look at really Richie born in Redcar and you're from Hull. Get Smallwood on next week. Lucas could probably do a job, to be fair. With no Honeyman and Doherty, get him on.
When is Smallwood getting back, actually?
He's done his knee, but he doesn't
Yeah.
need an operation, so he might be back before the end of the season. But if he needed an
wonderful.
operation, if he
So
needed an
Quill
operation,
could captain the side for the rest of the season, but maybe the last couple of games, Smallwood will come back in.
yeah.
Brilliant.
So how long will these guys take to come back then? Honeyman and Doherty. These,
I think
for
Doherty
me,
was a knock. I think
were
Doherty was
our
a knock.
two
So
best players. Because Doherty and Honeyman just kept everything ticking over nicely. And as soon as Doherty came off, we got worse. And having that long delay for George Honeyman's injury, get well soon, George. I hope that it's not too long.
I think with Doherty, it's a knock. I think he'll be out for a game, maybe 2 maximum. With Honeyman, we're looking at a few months here. I think that's just, in my personal opinion, we don't know the seriousness of it yet, but from what I saw from the pitch, I think that's Honeyman's season over, and maybe that could dent Hull City's promotion hopes. But I think Doherty will be a knock for a couple of games. But I think, again, like you said, I think they got worse as soon as they came off. We could see the impact, and again, championship quality players, you could see the impact they were making. So, I think Honeyman's going to be a massive, massive loss. It'll be interesting to see who you bring on in the first team to permanently replace him in that position for at least the next couple of months. In fact, the rest of the season, in my opinion. And with Doherty, I think a good couple of games out will hopefully nurse him back to fitness. But if it's worse than it looked, then again, maybe we're looking at a month or so at max.
See, Doherty, he knew he was injured. The ref
didn't want to come off.
So we were trying to make a sub. The ref was telling the physios not to come on. Doherty's saying I'm injured, so he's got up and walking to the physios. It's all just an absolute palaver. McCann got a booking because of it. Doherty got booked for time wasting. He's injured. What do you want him to do? When you're not letting the physios come on, ref, to treat an injured player.
Grant McCann can't keep his emotions together.
So with Doherty, McCann says it was just a little groin injury. They're going to assess him over the next 24, 48 hours. Honeyman had to go to hospital and he's getting checked over. And
I can see Honeyman's season being over, in my opinion.
I assume McCann in his pre-match press conference tomorrow will feed back on that.
Yeah, it won't be all the information, but it will just be as much as we know now, or as much as the club's been.
As well.
Yeah. As much as the club's been told. But in my personal opinion, I think Doherty will be out minimum a couple of games, maximum a month or 2. Honeyman, in my opinion, that's his season over. And I'm just being generous.
Hostile Hen says, I've said it once and I'll say it again, George Long is the best striker in the league.
No, it's Omar Bogle.
You're going to get mixed up between the Lucases now, me and Manfab. Oh, I can tell you both apart, don't worry. Doherty sounds just like a knock, hopefully back in a game. George, we have to pray and hope it's not too serious. I recorded my preview for tomorrow, to go out tomorrow earlier. I was discussing the severity of Honeyman's injury because we've had a history of career-ending injuries. Brian Lennion had a knee injury, never recovered, and he had a couple and because of that, he had mental health problems as well, which I'm so pleased he's over and he's cracking on with his life away from football now. I think he's got 2 children. He's got 1 or 2 children. He's cracking on with his life just fine away from the limelight. Ryan Mason, sad eventuality on that because he was just
that one hurt.
Marco Silva. And
Ryan Mason one hurts so much because he's a former Doncaster player as well. That one hurts so much.
And I just hope that this isn't another case of head injuries ending a career in a Hull City shirt. We've got who can replace them then? Callum Jones, maybe. Callum Jones is a bit more of an attacking player. However, he has played right back for us this season in the Papa John's Trophy. Callum, he's been nursing a hamstring injury since about this time in November. He's about a week away from being available for selection. No Doherty and Honeyman means no promotion. Doherty was quality. Think and hope he was okay. He went off yesterday and it really ruined us. And with Honeyman, only thing I have to say is I pray he's okay. Hostile Hen says the ref needed the physios more than Doherty. I like that.
Comment of the day so far.
Doncaster on tour says Coppinger. We'll get on to James Coppinger in a moment. Genuinely didn't realise Coppinger was bloody 40. Normally they don't do midweek press conferences, do they? McCann will do some sort of update on the website.
Yeah.
We will be known as injury-prone club by other clubs because they don't know the backstory. We really are an injury-prone club. We are.
Because we had a massive injury list, and now we're starting to ease off the injury list, and now you guys are starting to build the injury list up again. So it's like going one or two ways for both clubs. So it's like we're going on the up in terms of less injuries, and you guys are going down because of more injuries. So I'm hoping that Honeyman and Doherty doesn't affect your promotion charge, but I think because of how influential they are against one of the title rivals, I do worry for your promotion charge, especially playoffs as well. I mean, if Honeyman's back for the playoff final, then fair play, but I think that it's going to be interesting to see if that does affect your promotion charge and possibly your playoff charge.
Ryan Mason really did hurt, didn't it? Very true.
Absolutely.
And in terms of who could replace Honeyman and Doherty, Dan Crowley, he's more attacking. But again, with Crowley in there, we lose our shape. But with a defensive player in there, maybe that sort of comes back. Could Flores? Flores definitely could. I'd like to see Flores get an opportunity because his only involvement in a Hull City shirt so far is 3 minutes against. Don't even know who it was. And then
I think it's kind of a 50-50 situation, really. I think if you bring on a defensive player, you have more assurity, but maybe you won't score as many goals as you could have done. But I think with an attacking player, even though you leave yourselves more open and your shape gets changed and altered, you do have the opportunity of being more pressuring on those teams. So, and to be fair, I did say it in the preview. I said that even though it was an emphatic win for you guys against Wigan, we have to remember it's a Wigan Athletic that hasn't got an owner and it's in the bottom four. So it wasn't the hardest of teams to face.
But yeah, Jordan Flores, his only real event in a Hull City shirt so far is missing the penalty that knocked us out of the Papa John's trophy. So hopefully he gets an opportunity. Yeah, I really would like to hope to see Flores get some game time. I remember the days of Harry Wilson, Maguire, Robertson, and Bowen. Doncaster on tour says if it shows the call. Personally, we deserve to win that match. I'm not being biased, but that ref cost us the match. We would have had lots of pens, but the ref didn't see it. We'll touch on the ref soon enough, but man, he was poor. You deserve a point minimum in my eyes. Possibly could have had a lot more.
It could have been 3, to be fair, after that second half, because, like I said, a certain midfielder, which we'll speak about in a bit, as well as Coppinger, changed the game.
Indeed. Few bottom half teams coming up along with Posh and Oxford need to get a run of form going. Unfortunately, we were 3-1 up, and then Honeyman had an injury and a load of added time. Then they scored. Right, lads, I've got to go now. See you later. See you later, Lucas.
See you, Lucas.
I remember being at 2 games last season, and Eves missed 5 sitters, and they were saying, "Imagine if this is the difference, and we have no backups." Tiger Boy says Mayer can play in midfield. It will probably be Slater, Crowley, and Alfie Jones. I think that'll happen as well.
That's a more realistic one.
So then, Malik Wilks. What are we saying?
Cocky little git slowing his walk off the pitch in the second half. Cocky little git. And to be fair, you know what? It was karma for us, actually, because when he used to play for us, he used to slowly walk off the pitch and actually piss off the fans of the opposition. And now he's doing it for us. And I'm like, you cocky little git. You're a good player, but you are cocky as anything, mate. But I'll tell you something now. For you, he's your man of the match. 110%. Malik Wilks, what a start. And to be fair, like I said before, if you have Emmanuel in that right back position, he could be so much better. So much better. But hopefully, if someone else could get the captain's armband for a bit, give Coyle a rest and play Emmanuel along with Wilks, mate, that right-hand side could get your midfield with Honeyman being out and Doherty being out. He could give your right-hand side so much better consistency.
And you look at who would take the armband if Coyle was dropped. With no Honeyman, the likelihood is it would go to Jacob Greaves because he's worn it before. So I'd love to see him.
He's a young future captain. Jacob Greaves is a young future captain, so I think it'd be a nice way to ease him into the long-term role.
I mean, guys in chat, you know my history with Jacob. I sent him a little message last night. Very, very pleased for him and whatever. Extremely, extremely happy for the boy. I want to see Slater get more game time, says Lewis Perry. Yeah, Doncaster on top with a draw with Hull. Hopefully, we can put the 3 games behind us and aim for playoffs or even automatic promotion. You've got 3 games in hand on us. Every team has at least 1 game in hand on us in this league now. So,
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I think we've put that run of every champion has a bad run of form. Every promotion charge has a run of form where you don't exactly agree with it. So it's all about how you respond to that, and that's what champions do. That's what promoted teams do. We've responded to that again yesterday to start off with. We've got a nice set of games now against the likes of Blackpool. So we start on Tuesday against Blackpool and we go from there. And I think we can get back on run of form, especially with Anderson back, with Smith back, with Coppinger back in the squad now, with Okunabiri on his way back, with Bostock hopefully starting, with Smith Sims starting more games now. I think we could get back on form.
You definitely could. Malik Wilkes scored the goals, then not much. Yeah, Wilkes is starting to get his goal scoring boots back. Get Joe Hart, free George Long. Joe Hart isn't having any game time at Tottenham. After relegated to League One, the biggest difference in quality isn't the players, it's the officials. The step down from the Championship is just unbelievable.
We'll get on to the rest in a bit.
I'm moaning about linesmen putting the flag up too late and waiting for the ref. My word. Jesus.
But first of all, that Joe Hart comment, there's a reason why he's not playing for Tottenham, and that is because he's League Two quality.
He's past it.
He's past his past years. He was a good goalkeeper at his time. He led Man City to that first Premier League in 40 years, but he's just not got it anymore. If you can find it somewhere, then feel free. But, Petr Cech played until he was like nearly 40, and look what happened with his Arsenal years.
He's registered now.
Well, he's now. I think he's like sporting director at Chelsea. You could see what he's doing over there. So,
Keane Lewis Potter, he should have scored, shouldn't he? When Balcom gave the ball away, he should have. What was?
He's a good goalkeeper, but he has those errors in him, that youthful errors. Because let's not beat around the bush here. He's 20 years old, so he's going to make youthful errors, but it's all about recovering from them because he makes world-class saves. He made a good few catches in that game. But when he has those errors about him, especially when we're 3-1 down, it could have been 4-1, Keane Lewis Potter should have struck that better. And Balcom should have made the error in the first place. He has those youthful errors about him. But, it's one of those things where his distribution needs to improve and things like that. And we'll discuss that more when we get into my team. But yeah, Lewis Potter should have scored that. But apart from that, he did put himself about a bit, but just didn't have that cutting edge, in my opinion. I think I'd probably give him a 6 at best.
He laid it back to Doherty, who got the brilliant assist for Wilkes' second. Lovely little cross by Doherty. And he was causing problems down the right-hand side for Halliday.
I'd probably give him a 7. But to be fair with Halliday, and I'll say this when I talk about him more, he was isolated. He didn't get the support from Taylor. He didn't get the support from, I think Joe Wright was the only player to have assisted him a couple of times in that position when he needed someone to track back and cover. Taylor didn't drop back. No one assisted him. He was isolated, which made him vulnerable to mistakes.
If Keane Lewis Potter squared it to Honeyman instead of chipping the goalkeeper, we could have won that game. Definitely could. If KLP scored, we would have been 4-1 up and killed the game. Yeah, that's true. We would have won the game, but then Doncaster deserved a point. You did deserve a point. KLP's a good player, but he's League One quality best. Maybe if we go up, he could get 6 goals. He definitely outscored Tom Eaves, I reckon. Tom Eaves got 8.
I think Keane Lewis Potter is that long-term homegrown talent that I think if Hull was to go back to the Premier League, you'd need that homegrown talent to make it feel like a good chemistry-based squad and a good morale-based squad. So Keane Lewis Potter would be great at Premier League level, but it's sort of keep building up his talent because he's still young. He's still got time to develop. He's still nowhere near his prime years. So you've got to keep developing this guy. But I think it could be a really good talent. If he doesn't stay at Hull, if Hull's still in League One or something, or God forgive stay in League One, or God forgive go down to League Two, then Lewis Potter will leave for a different club because he's that kind of talent that you'd need at Championship level at least.
Definitely. Josh McGuinness, what we saying? Didn't really do anything. He was claiming that he got a touch on the end of Greaves' goal. Greaves has said to me, nah, just banter.
Like Grant McCann clutching at straws to save his skin. McGuinness was more invisible than Reptile from Mortal Kombat. He was invisible. He was nowhere to be seen for most of that game. He did try and get in the attack, but nothing came from him. And you could see why he left Charlton, in my opinion, for a lower league. He didn't have that extra quality. Hopefully he does bring that quality, because I think he's a nice guy. But
he's got
that game, it just didn't happen. And don't take the credit for Greaves' goal, because it was a Greaves goal.
It was. So McGuinness, he doesn't fit our system. It was just
extra bodies. It was just an extra body.
That's why we need a player like a Charlie Wyke who fits our system, a Luke Jeffcott from Plymouth who fits our system.
Mate, Jeffcott for Plymouth has just got them so many points this season. They've took the club to such a good point.
It was Stephen.
Yeah, I think if it was Jeffcott playing, we'd know if he was playing. But Jeffcott for Plymouth's got them so many points this season. You could see Plymouth starting to get more points and where they're starting to grow in terms of league positions because of people like Jeffcott. So I think if you replace McGuinness with Jeffcott, I think that, yeah, absolutely.
So then on to the players that came on for us. Gavin White, Regan Slater, and Josh Emmanuel. Neither of them, none of them, did anything really.
I said to myself when White came on, I thought maybe he could do something because he was a dangerous threat, and to have him on the bench, he was that extra attacking threat. But like Slater, defensive change, Emmanuel, defensive change, just didn't do anything. And it was that second half, really, that Hull just sat back and just let us come at them.
We did. Second half, we'll touch on this in a second as we head on to your team. I'm just getting it up on my...
I've got my team available. I've got my team on screen as well with my numbers ratings that I gave them in the review as well.
Right then, so that let's have a look. Oh, Andy Smethers says that free kick was for Coppinger and Coppinger only.
The GOAT. Thank you very much, Andy. He's a big fan of the channel, so massive thank you for your support, and go and subscribe to Old Grandpa Joe.
Right then, shall we have a look then at the Doncaster team yesterday?
Let's go for it.
We are looking at Ellery Balcombe first. As we touched on, the youthful mistake in him giving the ball away to KLP when he got it laid back to him. Youthful error, yes, but got away with it.
Yeah, I gave him a 6 out of 10. I think that
got away with that one.
Yeah, Balcombe got a 6 out of 10 for me because Balcombe he still made some wonderful saves. He still kept us in the game. He still kept it from being 4 or 5. So overall, it was a youthful error, it was a one-off, and he'll learn from that as he grows into the game over the next few years. Yeah,
definitely. He got away with it, but you got the point. He made a mistake. He got away and he made a brilliant save in the first. He made multiple saves in the first half. When Anderson cleared Doherty's absolute thunderbolt off the line, he dived for it. He got back up straight away, tipped the loose ball over the bar.
His reactions have always been his strong point, and like I said, he'll grow into the game in the next few years because he's been loaned out by a Brentford team who are reaching that Premier League level and under the coach Thomas Frank. So he's just going to get better and better once he goes back to Brentford next season. If he's coming back to us next season, then fair play. But so we need that kind of guy. Or if Seny Dieng is going to go to Arsenal or Crystal Palace next season, bring him out on loan. We'll get Dieng back in because he's been wonderful for us last season. But if Balcombe's coming back next season, then that'd be great as well because his reactions are the best thing about him.
Andy Smithers said, even though I like Balcombe, I wouldn't mind seeing Louis Jones have a few games in net.
The fans have always said this, the homegrown talent. Louis Jones, apparently, according to the club, rumoured to be maybe our future number 1 next season. So, I'd like to see that because, of course, it is a homegrown talent. I'd like to see him get the game time. But, again, it's that communication between a youthful, homegrown goalkeeper and a back line with so much quality in there. So, it's communication that's going to be the key if Louis Jones is going to be number 1 next season. But I'd like to see Jones get game time, yeah, absolutely. Especially if we guarantee promotion at some point.
Let's have a look at Brad Halliday now then at right back. We touched on with Keane Lewis-Potter, very isolated, got very little support from Richards, from your midfield. He was very isolated, but did very well because Keane Lewis-Potter was, whenever he had the ball, he had someone to beat and he held him up so Keane Lewis-Potter couldn't cut inside and he had to look back for someone else.
Well, we got him on a free transfer from Cambridge in League Two. I think that, again, a couple of years ago, it was one of our best pieces of business. Looking back on it 2 years later, I think he is arguably the best right back in this league. And there's a reason for that. It's because of his attacking presence, his defensive presence, his mix of the two, his tracking back, his coming forward. And, again, he was isolated, which led to mistakes in terms of trying to stop getting the crosses in. So I think that overall Halliday could have had a better game, but I think it was a good performance because he still tracked back, he still came forward, and he still did the defensive duties and helped assist potential goal threats.
Doncaster on tour says, I agree. When Louis started a while ago against BTEC Manchester, he seemed like a very good goalkeeper. He just needs to get used to the league. And Andy Smith says his distribution is better than Balcom's as well.
Yeah, that's fair play.
Then Andy Smith also says, Halliday loves a shot from 30 yards.
We all love shots from 30 yards. I think Taylor Richards has brought that Premier League quality into our side.
We'll get on to Reece James, who did that in a second. But after we look at Tom Anderson and Joe Wright.
The first time in a few months we've seen that partnership. We've seen Butler and Anderson for the last couple of months, last few months, while Wright was injured a few months ago. And we now see that partnership. And, it was good to see Butler get a break because he was that brick wall. He was doing well for our defence. But then when Anderson got injured, it started to fall away. So it's good to see the Anderson-Wright partnership. Wright did well, not majestic, but he did well. He did get in there a few times. He did clear a couple. And did block a couple, so overall did well. Tom Anderson. There's a reason why this guy is the captain and one of the most important players in this team defensively. He is Captain Tom. Rest in peace, Captain Tom Moore. He is the next Captain Tom. He is the legend in this side. He sacrifices the bridge of his nose like Jax from Mortal Kombat sacrificed his arms. He is just a saviour for this team, an absolute saviour.
In 2 goal line clearances, 2 absolute bullets.
Premier League quality clearances. You could see the quality in those clearances off the line.
You could. You absolutely could. Doncaster on tour says Anderson is one of the best centre-backs in the league, hands down. Andy Smith says Anderson and Wright were shaky first half, then second half they played brilliant.
I think that's the best way to sum them up. But I think Anderson in the first half probably did better than Wright in the first half. So I think overall Anderson had a better game.
Definitely. And now at left back, the scorer of your first goal, Reece James.
That goal was sweeter than Cadbury. He gets a 7 out of 10 for me. 7 out of 10. He was brilliant. He had a physical presence about him. He did defend really well. He did react really well. And I think overall he was just amazing, majestic. And overall he gets 7 from me. One of the better players on the field.
See, during the first half, he went walkabouts a little bit defensively. But then
I do get that.
But, he scored the brilliant goal, then sat back, conserved defensively. Second half, he had nothing to do because Malik Wilkes went missing.
After the goal, he just got better and better.
He did. So we'll move on then to holding midfielder Madja Gomez.
If you're not going to play this guy at cam, if you're not going to play this guy at centre attacking midfield, leave him on the bench.
Don't play him at all.
Don't play him exactly. You can't get ahead of Taylor Richards right now. Don't play Madja Gomez. Play John Bostock against Blackpool. Start John Bostock. If not, Scott Robertson. He's been putting in better performances, and Bostock's been putting in better performances than Madja Gomez. Straight passes, giving away possession. He's not a holding midfielder. Why do we keep playing him there? And if you're going to transition him into that position, like Cameron John at left back, if you're going to transition him into that position, leave him on the bench, let him learn from Bostock and Robertson and Smith, and just watch what they do and play like Matt Smith, play like John Bostock, play like Scott Robertson. Learn from them. Because in the first half, he was awful. And then when Bostock came on, you saw the difference in the second half. It was brilliant. But Magic Gomez cannot start against Blackpool because you look at what Blackpool did against Portsmouth, another promotion rival. If you start Magic Gomez, we could cause so many mistakes. And bearing in mind, we came back from 2-0 down to beat Blackpool 3-2 in the first fixture. We can't go through that again. I can't keep getting heart attacks from that.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. James, for me, is one of the most solid left-backs in the league. If you look at Doncaster, they're a good team. Won't be surprised if they go up. But I also see Hull as a modern-day Sunderland, Hull Till I Die Netflix.
Mate, if that ends up resulting in a takeover after the documentary like Sunderland, then it's probably the best thing around. Let's have it.
Madger still needs a few games. And
he's not 100%. He's not 100%. That's the excuse I'll use. He's not 100% at all.
Start Bostock and Robertson centre mids, Gums as a cam, not a CDM. But look at Magic
or Matt Smith.
Speaking of which,
I'm going to give him a 6, but I was tempted to give him a 7 because I think overall in the first half he tried to do stuff in the midfield, but the second half completely took over before he came off. He was all round, just did really well. Box to box playmaker, played attacking, wonderful passes to provide assists for goals. Just brilliant overall.
He just kept you ticking over, didn't he? He just kept
and
you ticking over.
You could tell he came on loan from Pep Guardiola. You could tell.
Definitely. I mean, Smith, I think, is he ex-Arsenal as well?
I don't think so, no. I think he used to play for, I think it was something like Oldham or something, but he came in as a youth and he's come to Manchester City and he's been going out on loan from Man City. So I don't know if Man City plan to use him as a first teamer in the future, but I would like to see him as a first teamer permanently for Rovers if he's not going to get used by Guardiola. And maybe Man City could have missed out on the youth there. They've got Barr from Rochdale in January, so maybe they might miss out on Matt Smith and they might miss out on a Gemia.
He was at West Brom, then in 2013 joined Man City.
Yeah.
So on the right wing, you had John Taylor, gave Halliday no support, and I thought did very little.
Yeah, I gave him a 6. It wasn't majestic. It wasn't brilliant, but it was an all right performance because he did end up, getting involved in the second half. So overall, not a good, not the best performance, but it was just all right.
Yeah. I hate when people say Whiteman carried us. He only played sideways and backwards football. And Doncaster are stacked. Like centre-backs, we have Tom, Joe, Andy, CDM, Smith, Bostock, Robertson. Hostile hence is a 5.5 for John Taylor, if you ask me.
I don't do halves. I usually just round it up. I just round it up. So I just round it up to 6. But it could have gone to a 5, to be honest, if there was a couple more mistakes in the first half or second half.
Josh Sims, then. Won the penalty.
Yeah, you know what? To be fair, I was tempted to give this guy a 6, but you know what? Rounding it up, I'll give this guy a 7. I think he was trying to create something. You could see when he was substituted, his head going back. He wanted to stay on and make an impact. So I rounded it up to a 7. I think he was trying to create stuff, and I think he was a lovely attacking presence on the field. And it's great to see him start games now. Really good to see him start games because he's just that creative presence. And might I remind Hull fans, we convinced Southampton that we're going to cash in on him in January to loan him out for a second season and let his contract run down so we can get him on a permanent deal in the summer for free. That says a lot about our recruits. It says a lot about our recruitment team.
Dream of.
You could praise our recruitment team for what they've done with Josh Sims. Absolutely 110%.
So we've got from Andy Smith, Taylor has his moment that does nothing like Sims. Andy Smith also said I'd rather play Jason Lakilo than Sims. Very interesting. And but for me, it was your man of the match, Taylor Richards.
I was tempted to give this guy an 8. I'm not going to lie to you because he's. I gave him a high 7 instead, but I gave him an 8 just because he didn't play. I didn't give him an 8 because he didn't play 90 minutes. No, in fact, no, he did play 90 minutes, but like I didn't. I thought there was sort of an overall atmosphere about it, so I gave him a high 7 instead. And I felt like, again, he was our man of the match. Absolutely 100%. Coppinger is another example, but I think that Richards, in my opinion, was the overall man of the match because physical, attacking presence, left defenders for dead, had 30-yard shots, put people on their arse, and was just unbelievable. I think you're on mute.
There we go. Taylor Richards caused us all sorts of problems in the second half, really. He was in that cam role. He was absolutely all over the place. He was on the left cutting in. He was on the right cutting in. He caused us a lot of problems. And when he went off, I was sat in my living room watching it. I shouted, "Yes! Get in!"
And that's the thing. Even the top clubs in this league know what kind of threat Taylor Richards can be when he starts. You could see the threat he was. And, I think Hull defenders were probably saying, yes, we're not going to get murdered.
Yeah, definitely. I was celebrating. Not at the end of the 110 minutes, though. Andy Smith says Lakilo likes to run with the ball, which is good, and he tracks back as well. Hostile Hen says just put on a 37-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo up front for Hull, and we survived the drop in League Two.
You won't get relegated to League Two. I think the least you'll finish is like 6th or 7th, but you'll be in the playoffs at least.
Talking to strikers, don't think this guy's quite on Ronaldo's level, but Omar Bogle. Now
we've uncovered a gem. We have uncovered a gem.
First thing I want to say is the penalty excellently dispatched. Second thing, McCann making excuses how the free kick wasn't a free kick because Bogle went down easily is absolute nonsense.
Grant, you're just embarrassing yourself. You're just embarrassing yourself.
If we just go full screen on me for a second, Reece Burke was holding him like this round the waist, trying to grab him about, trying to stop him. So how do you say that's not a free kick?
Mate, it's just excuses from the manager that left to try and go to a bigger team, and now you're in the same league as us. So how did that work out? He left with the money. But yeah, Omar Bogle, man, like Charlton fans can say he was a flop, but we've uncovered a gem. It's all about players don't always play brilliantly for every single club. They'll play good under certain managers. Darren Moore is that right manager. We can get this guy firing again because you could see what he could do in that game. His build-up play was excellent. There's a few chances he could have taken better, in my opinion. So we have to work on his clinicalness over the training sessions in the next few weeks. But overall, I've got no problems with him. I think his hold-up play was brilliant. His penalty was brilliant. Jesse Lingard's made it 2-0 against Spurs, which is brilliant. And yeah, I think that Bogle was just in a different league compared to past strikers. He was like Marquise, in his best days, he's brilliant.
Katie Powell says Bogle's just an offside merchant, they said. Bogle played well, got stuck in, tried to win the ball back as well. With Omar Bogle, was excellent at Grimsby. He scored for absolute fun with them.
Oh, it was like the Joker in his Carnival of Chaos. It was just having so much fun.
Yeah. Then he sort of tailed off a little bit when he headed to Wigan. Only 3 goals for them in 14 games. Very brief stint. Then Cardiff, 21 games, 4 goals. Didn't get that many opportunities. Couldn't really cement his place in the side and get a real run at goal scoring. But he had loan spells with Peterborough, with Birmingham, with Portsmouth, where in this level he's done quite well. 4 goals in 12 games for Portsmouth. A goal in 5 for Den Haag last year. I mean, for Charlton as well, before where you signed him from, wasn't too great. But I think League One, if you get him, fire him, brilliant.
Yeah, it's all about finding the right player at the right club at the right time, and that's always been our transfer strategy. We don't go out and spend millions and millions on one player or two players just because they've been overhyped for a year. We spend on the right kind of player that's not only going to be right for the formation and the tactics and the system and the attacking football, but also what's right for the morale of the team, and the players we've got in are right for the whole team chemistry. And that's why we brought Bogle in, because if he wasn't even if he wasn't firing, if he was not right for the team, we wouldn't have brought him in. If he was right for the chemistry of the team to get him firing again, we brought him in, and we've done the right business.
Yeah, definitely. He caused us a few problems in the second half, to say the very least, hence why Riesberg had to bring him down. On to your substitutes. We're going to talk about these individually because they did a lot more than any of ours. But John Bostock, ex-Tiger, came on for Magic Gomez at half-time and played as a deep-lying playmaker, changed the game.
My round of applause goes to John Bostock. That guy. Now, you list off his previous clubs as a youngster and as a senior. Spurs, Palace, Barcelona, Nottingham Forest, Toulouse, Hull City, Toulouse, Leuven, Lens. He's played in the Championship. He's played in the Premier League. He's played in Europe. He knows the levels you need to be playing at. When he came on in that position, along with Smith, he changed the game. Like CM Punk changed the culture, he changed the game. And I really want to see that Bostock-Smith partnership now. I really want to see that start for 90 minutes, because if you play an exciting young box-to-box playmaker like Matt Smith with an experienced holding playmaker like John Bostock, you see the difference in levels. You could see what he does with those kind of players around him. And it's so important he starts against Blackpool, because if he starts against Blackpool and maybe Coppinger gets start as well over Taylor instead of Sims, we could tear Blackpool apart. We could rip them a new hole in the seaside beach.
Love that. Love that. Lee Walker says Bostock changed the game for Doncaster second half, I thought. Couldn't agree more with you, Lee. He came on, changed the game, and he absolutely excelled. Absolutely excelled. Changed the game. Brilliant game management from Darren Moore. Jason Lakilo. He didn't really do much other than the little escapade with Honeyman, which I demonstrated in my match reaction, which isn't too ideal for George. And as McCann said, Jason definitely isn't that sort of person. He's not that sort of player. It was just a freak accident.
Yeah, it was an accident. And to be fair, when he came on, he did run quite a lot, which is great. And like I think a comment said earlier, he did track back compared to Taylor. So, he does support the right back. I think Halliday's game improved when the Kilo came on, and he sort of tracked back and helped whenever he could. And I felt like Lakilo did run quite a lot. So, he's got that kind of Premier League quality in him. His technical ability is second to none on his best day. So it's really important now that I think looking at the Blackpool game, I think I'd probably, from that starting lineup, I would be dropping Gomez and Taylor for Bostock and Lakilo, and I'd be bringing Gomez and Taylor onto the bench. And maybe one of the substitutions we didn't use, maybe he comes out for Okanabiri if he's fit. So, I think Lakilo maybe deserves a start, in my opinion. Sort of see what he does under at least 70 minutes, maybe even the full 90.
Yeah, so on to a couple of comments here. Bostock looked like his normal self yesterday. It's important to have a good bench, not just a good 11. Definitely. I've seen a few comments about this guy, Scott Robertson. A bit further up, he came on, looked pretty decent. I'll just try and find the comment, because I've got to scroll up a bit. Yeah.
Mate, Scott Robertson, he's got past experience in the Scottish League Cup and the Europa League for his senior debut. You could see what this guy brings to this squad. An exciting young defensive midfielder. And if he doesn't sign a new contract at Celtic, let's pick him up. Let's get him on a free transfer in the summer.
Definitely spent the first half of the season on loan at Gillingham, didn't he? And now he's now he's yours. Doncaster Tor says earlier, about half an hour ago, Robertson looked good.
Yeah, I think actually, to be fair, and this is another testament to our recruitment team and how we back the manager. He was actually going to stay at Celtic, and then we prized him away on a second loan deal for until the end of the season. We managed to convince Celtic not to loan out one of their young up-and-coming talents that's out of contract in the summer. It says a lot about our recruitment team and how we back the manager and how much we back the manager, because if we can prize away a talent like that, a young up-and-coming Scottish talent like that, what else can we do? What else can we do? You know, it's brilliant. He's got that exciting young. He's like an attacking CDM in a way. He's like an attacking CDM because he can track back and also attack as well. So he can play in the 10 role as well as defensive midfield. So you know you can see out a game with him and he can attack a game with him. So he's just the best of both worlds, like Hannah Montana.
Andy Smith says, I like Robertson, gets stuck in all the time and he's good on the ball.
110%.
What about this man then? I'll just let you take it away.
Show must go on. Oh, mate, the show must go on without him. But with him, the show is just like Freddie Mercury standard. It is just legendary. Legendary. He's not the Queen. He's the King. He's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Coppinger, man. What can't this guy do? And for those of you who have just joined right now, I want to remind you of something. Yesterday was his 799th appearance. 799. He's 40 years old. He's been at the club 17 years. And he scored that free kick like a seasoned pro. Absolutely 110%. People blaming the keeper. Keeper couldn't do anything about that. The wall defenders couldn't do anything about that. The free kick was second to absolutely none. And the thing about Coppinger, and this is why I like the future of Doncaster Rovers at the minute, we've got players that come on and make an impact. Coppinger started the foundations of having an impactful side. And you could see the success we've been having in the last couple of years in terms of league positions. We got denied the playoffs thanks to a points per game system last season. We just missed out on the final under Grant McCann. We are an exciting team. We are an exciting side. We're back up there. We're back in not just the automatic race, not just the playoffs race. We are in still, with the games in hand, we are still in a title race. We're still in a title race. The reason why I say we're in a title race is because the injured players are getting back to our squad, including Coppinger, and we've got the bodies capable of rotating with the tough fixture scheduling. So Coppinger is going to be an important asset to make sure we get championship football for the first ever season without him as a player. And Coppinger just stole the show. Like a performance by Shawn Mendes, stole the show.
I mean, Andy Smith says, cracking player. The free kick was excellent. As we touched on earlier, definitely a free kick. Grant McCann, shut your face. Easy. Moving on then, finally, because my Wi-Fi's starting to go. Referee.
Can I give people a minus 100?
Go on then. I'll give you license to do that, mate.
I'm giving the referee minus 100 out of 100. He's a clown. He's more clowning around than Joker and Harley Quinn in a carnival. He's an absolute clown. Get him a crusty wig and a big red shoes. He's awful. There should have been at least 1 or 2 out of the 4 handballs we could have been given. We should have got a penalty out of one of those handballs. He didn't give away any good decisions for you guys either. He was bad for both of us, and he was probably the most negative factor out of that brilliant game.
Definitely. I mean, the whole incident with Doherty was where it all started, really. It was just so bizarre. Because it was all right up to that point.
Yeah. It was...
Hold on here. Coyle and Honeyman are diving cheats.
I could see why he's saying that, because Honeyman on a couple of occasions sort of did dive a little bit. He went down very easily. But to be fair, that's the game of football sometimes. Even one slight contact, he will make the most of it. And that is, unfortunately, the world of modern football. And I don't particularly like that, because I think we've lost our passion in certain leagues, because we've come accustomed now to young kids that have been brought up to dive just to get wins.
Definitely.
And I think Honeyman's dive came back to bite him on the arse in the end.
Katie Poll says, what was his name? Charles Breakspear.
more like Charles break his back.
Yeah, break his spine. So then it all kicked off with the penalty incidents. The Coyle one was sort of 50-50. The Burke one definitely was. The Wilkes bit was sort of 50-50 as well. Wilkes got a bit of the ball, bit of the man.
Yeah.
I think the one that he actually gave was more out of sympathy because he realised, oh no, he's thought back. That was definitely a penalty.
And I think the fourth one was like a little flick off his arm, like near the centre circle, near the end. So it was like one of those where, you know what, there was not really any contact. You can't really give that one. So that one barely exists, to be honest. But yeah, the Burt one definitely. The other two 50-50. But overall, the referee was just it was just all over the place. And we do manager ratings as well, because I'd be very interested to see what you'd rate your manager and my manager, and what I would rate your manager and my manager.
Yeah, I can do. McCann and more. Let's stick that in the chat. Has that gone through? Katie Paul says referees are either inconsistent or extremely poor. Agreed.
Must have learned from the Premier League.
Mike Dean. So Grant McCann, then I think it's just a case of poor game management again. Because you know the rule exists about the subs. You do two changes, then save one just in case. I mean, Darren Moore played that game absolutely excellently. He went into the dressing room at half-time, says, this needs changing. Madger, you've been poor. John, get your jackets off, get your kit on, off you go. And then he's bringing on Coppinger. You could say, is it out of sympathy because it's the kit he's designing, it's the game or whatever? Partly, probably. But the fact is, Coppinger came on, made the impact, and got you guys a point, which you definitely deserved. So Darren Moore's game management was absolutely excellent. Grant McCann, on the other hand, first half, all guns blazing. Second half, we didn't show up. What did he say to them in that dressing room? Andy Smith says McCann doesn't change his game plan, which he did when he was at Doncaster. He has plan A, 4-3-3. Plan B, C, D, E, and F are all the same.
Yeah, it's I think Grant McCann, I'd rate him a 5 because I didn't think he didn't see out the victory from the first half and completely lost his head. His game management was poor. His man management in terms of how he behaves on the sidelines was poor. And then like Liverpool blaming the wind, you know, he makes excuses. He makes so many excuses. He's like a walking sorry excuse with a punchline. He just made so many excuses. Tottenham's got a goal back against West Ham. McCann just made so many excuses. Darren Moore. We are so lucky to have this man. He's a former Championship and Premier League manager. He's a former Doncaster Rovers defender. He's a former player. So I think that might have played a factor in the fact that we got him in the first place. But my God, my bloody God, if we want to get Premier League football at the Keepmoat Stadium for at least 1 year, this is the man that's going to do it. Absolutely. And he's going to prove West Brom wrong. I'm looking forward to next season because if we go up and West Brom go down, he will prove them wrong at the whole form and the Keepmoat.
In the league. Why did they sack him when they were fourth?
Mate, I think it was like West Brom this season, to be fair, because confirmation, Lucas Moura scored the goal for Spurs. I think it was like this season, to be fair, because West Brom got a draw against Man City and sacked Bilic and brought in Allardyce, and since then they've hardly won. So it's a case of
poor timing.
Getting bored, poor timing, and sacking at the wrong time, because, in my personal opinion, Darren Moore is the man to get his Premier League football. Grant McCann, on the other hand, mate, I think if the owners could do anything, is that if you don't get promoted this season, you spend a second consecutive season in League One, you sack him and you bring in Paul Cook or Danny Cowley or Eddie Howe. Even Eddie Howe would be great.
See, Darren Moore was a name that was linked with us when Nigel Adkins left us, but we went for Grant McCann for some stupid reason and let you get Darren Moore. There was Danny Cowley available then, and we didn't go for him. So it's
I'm just praying if you sack Grant McCann, you don't go for Darren Moore again, because we need him. We need him. Especially if we go up and you don't. We need him, you guys don't. So it's kind of a case of we need Darren Moore. We don't want to go back to stupid defensive football from bloody Paul Dickov.
Oh, that's brilliant. McCann only looked good last game because it was against a poor side. McCann has never
I said that in the preview.
McCann has never looked good when he's wearing this crest on his chest. He's never really looked good.
I said about Grant McCann, I said it in the preview. The only reason Hull look good is because you're against a Wigan Athletic that don't have an owner and are in the bottom four and probably going to get relegated to League Two to join Bolton Wanderers. So, it's kind of a case of, well, it's top versus bottom in a way. You're not exactly going to expect to lose unless you're really, really on a bad run of form or you're really, really crap. So it's kind of a case of, well, you've won that emphatically. Well done. Good hat-trick from Wilkes. I said that in the preview. But now you've got to face against a bigger test. And to be fair, at times, against bigger opposition, Hull haven't delivered on many occasions. So it's kind of a case of you've got over the top, you've got over the bottom teams. You've got to start winning against the rivals now, the rivals for the top spot. Because if you don't win against them, you just win against the bottom teams. You're not exactly going to get promoted, are you? So,
Katie Powell saying that Wigan almost beat Lincoln yesterday. Yes, they did.
Yeah,
Paul
they had a good amount of fight. Really good showing of fight for Wigan Athletic. Really well done.
And on to your point there about us not beating top sides. Lincoln, we've drawn the only time we've played them in the league. Peterborough, we've lost the only time we've played them in the league. We were a better team in that game, but again, poor game management, didn't take our chances, and look what happened. You guys, we've won and drawn. Portsmouth, we got beaten 2-0, then beat 4-0. Sunderland, we've drawn. Accrington, we've won 3-0, lost 2-0. Yeah, so we've got an all right record, but it's games we should be winning. It's games we have to win.
Yeah, and if you compare that to us against the bigger teams, we've beat Lincoln on both occasions. We drew the first time with Sunderland and lost 4-1, but that's because we didn't have our best defender, and we played like crap on that game. We beat Portsmouth 1-0. We still got the reverse fixture from that. We still got to face Peterborough both times, and against you guys won, but only just on the first occasion, and now we've got a much deserved point and could have got all three. So it's not like it was the most emphatic of points. It was like a well-deserved point because Hull just didn't see out the victory.
Katie Powell says difference between playoffs and autos is those games against teams around you, definitely. More to Hull at the end of the season, Pulis at Doncaster. Would you take Tony Pulis? I wouldn't.
I would rather take Harry Hill and Sideshow Bob as joint managers.
We've got Lee Walker, McCann give him till end of season. Darren Moore, good manager, good game management. Couldn't agree more. And on that note, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Aaron, for coming along. So do you want to just plug what you want to plug? Go ahead, I'll mute.
Yeah, no worries. So obviously Forever Football, DRFC, Doncaster Rovers fan channel. There's other wonderful channels out there like 18 Dapper that do the match vlogs. We are like the sort of previews, reviews, daily reports. We're like the fan, we're like the United Stand for Donny Rovers. We don't really do vlogs as such from the matches. We are more like the fan channel that looks into the tactical side of things and looks from off the pitch. So. Obviously, hopefully next season the championship will do some watch-alongs, and it's going to be an exciting time for Rovers. So please subscribe. We're on the way to 400 subscribers. Bearing in mind this is the first ever season I've done this, so that's amazing so far. So thank you very much for that. You can go and check out videos we've done with fans. I've worked with Tyler Rowlandson from Charlton, Robbie from AFTV. I've appeared on the Football Terrace numerous times with Terry. So, overall, we've worked with some amazing people, and that is set to continue. Hopefully, work with a few journalists in the summer to look through the transfer window and things like that. So hopefully that will all go ahead as planned. And, got a really exciting season coming up, hopefully, especially if we get promoted this season. So make sure you go subscribe to that. And also, I've got my theme park channel, Coaster Chow, which is on the road to 2,200 subscribers and 1 million views by the end of the year. So we're aiming to get to 4,000 by the end of the year in terms of subs. So please go and support that. It would really mean the absolute world.
Thank you very much there, mate. We'll stick your Instagram or whatever as well on a little scroller on the bottom. As for mine, please subscribe to the channel. We're going. Hopefully, we'll get back in the Championship and we can build on the foundation, on what's happened last season and the growth of it. We need to keep the channel growing. We're looking at our next target, 1.6k. Then we're looking a bit further in the distance at the massive 2. For my Twitter and my Instagram, old_grandpa_Joe on Twitter, Instagram, old_grandpa. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Thank you very much again, Aaron. And good luck to Doncaster for the rest of the season. See you later, everyone.